normally have a moment of silence before we do the pledge, but in light of the previous incident, I would rather pray.
You're here.
Precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this night, Father Lord, and for the safety that you have provided for us in our town, that, Lord, no one was injured, no one was seriously hurt. We thank you, Father God, that we can meet together here.
Yes.
Lord, join us in unity. Lord, help us to discuss issues without heated discussion, but together. We give you all the praise and glory, for it is in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call attendance: President Barbara Trent.
Here.
Vice President Joe Adam.
Here.
Calvin Glass.
Here.
Jack Root. Reverend Gerald Spade.
Here.
Kevin Swager.
Here.
Paul Zupich. Mayor Margaret Madalena.
Here. Have you all had a chance to read over the minutes?
Motion to adopt.
You approve the minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Motion to adopt the minutes.
Okay,
We can have discussion now.
I have a motion to accept the reading of the minutes, or the presentation of the minutes. Do I have a second? Calvin seconds. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, minutes are accepted.
I had asked that email be attached to this.
What do you know, honey?
The email that was read in.
I'm so used to doing when you're
We're
nursing,
going to
you deal
have
with patients.
these sessions.
When you're a nurse and you deal with patients, everybody is okay. Reverend Spade.
You're right.
Yeah, I had asked officially to do that. Can they be attached?
Can you remind me what we're talking about?
Oh, there was an email that Councilman Glass read, and there are other things in that should be matter of record.
So you want to
And yes,
attach it?
the borough secretary had talked to PLCB, or not PLCB,
PSCB.
Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs, and she wrote in that particular email that we were to vote on bills in council. Is that correct? That's what you wrote to me.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I just want that whole entire email to be attached to this, if I may.
I have no problem with the email being attached.
Because
That's not an
it was
issue with
read.
you whatsoever.
Yeah.
However, like I verbalized to you, my concern is I don't want accrued late payments with bills because we're waiting a whole month to pay them. And I spoke to Joe, right here in council, I said to Mr. Nevling, didn't we make a motion to pay bills to keep the borough up and running, not to accrue late costs? And he said, yes, we did. So in that respect, and I get it, anything over $500, we really shouldn't be paying anything without, bringing it up. I get that. But I wanted to
We're
make
talking
sure
about-
that you and I
I thought you
understand
were
each other, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did pause.
Okay, I thought you were finished.
No, let 'em, 'cause
I'll yield to you until you're finished.
I'm good.
Okay. I can understand an electric bill. Things
Yeah, those
that-
have been the only ones we were paying.
that were,
That run the borough.
yeah. But as you stated, that's what I'm concerned about, that we're spending, especially when I asked for this report, and we only have $8,000 left. And
We told you back whenever you guys wanted to pay the fire company, and I'm
Well-
not against paying the fire company, but we
Yeah.
wanted to wait to make sure what money we had, and you all voted.
Well,
You wanted the fire company paid, and Paul and I and Cal, we all told you the money's not gonna be there, and it's not.
yeah.
And
Well,
I have never brought up the fire company payment before, and that's in the past, there was a motion made, it was a done deal.
that's
and
illegal,
that's
that was
fine.
illegal action.
Exactly.
I'm just
It
saying,
happened, it's done, but I
Yeah.
told you this was gonna
you
happen.
know. But a fourth of that was to an attorney that should have never been.
Again, done deal.
Yeah.
We move on from here.
Yeah, but it was never voted on.
A done deal, we move on from here. Visitors and guests, Mr. Shawley, do you have anything that you want to say to the council or
I'm just here to observe.
just here to observe? Okay, welcome.
John.
Yes, we're glad you're here. He's gonna be a new resident here.
Yes,
Aren't you already?
I own a property. I don't live in it yet.
Oh, okay.
We're-
I thought you lived here. I'm sorry.
Well, you lived in Lowell, right?
Yeah, I still live in Alabama.
And he's moving to Coalport.
Okay.
Great.
Under correspondence, the bonds.
Calvin did get bonded. I had to fill out another application, like an addition, so that I can be bonded. And if you would like, Mr. Spade, I have the papers that need notarized in my office, and you can take those with you when we'll pay you whatever you need to be paid for it.
I am bonded. I could have a rider, which wouldn't cost the borough anything for this, but I don't know how.
You cannot hold that type of position. Like, she has to be bonded. She has to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a secretary that wasn't in the past.
Exactly, so,
No, I'm not objecting to anything. I just was trying to save the borough some money.
yeah, I understand.
I am bonded for the Commonwealth, but it's only for 30,000.
What's ours for?
75,000, yeah.
Yeah, I will yield to whatever you want to do. I'll pick up those from our secretary.
All right, thank you. Catherine's, we are going to, we're discussing that,
That can be
Later
brought
on
up
in the
later
meeting.
with the secretary.
so, does
Yes.
anybody else have any correspondence, anything that they may have received?
Am I going to deal with the right to know as a separate?
You know what? I think under, do you know whenever the mayor and management, they all give their report? I think we should have an entry in there for the right to know officer to give his report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Under unfinished business with the auditors, I received a phone call from Catalano, and they are unsure whether they are going to sign with us or not. They had asked that Noel keep them updated on how our finances are before they make that decision. Time is counting down, like they want to know how far she's made it as far as QuickBooks, reconciling all of the financial records that are really a mess right now that she is trying to rectify with Scott's help. And so
Scott is still with us.
he had some issues that he had to take care of and had to leave early and has not been available again. But he is open to help us, but I mean, he's offering his time, so we kind of have to,
If this
You know, work on
falls
his
through
schedule.
and with the auditors, we can legally, under 105, appoint auditors and have Scott balance us, you know, and I'm really impressed with his volunteerism in this.
I am too. I mean,
But he needs to be a little bit compensated, some kind of,
like people between him and Catherine, they're doing fantastic.
Great.
Trying to help her get the finances taken care of. Catherine's trying to get all of the back tax stuff taken care of from, you know, the previous years that need to be done. Because we're not getting liquid fuels until all of this is rectified. And I don't understand how liquid fuels went through like last year when problems have been since 2015. But we were told this time around liquid fuels are not coming through.
that's a final.
until we get things taken care of.
Oh, okay.
Like, we give them a certificate, like when we get everything taken care of as far as the taxes and everything are, they issue a certificate and that's sent to them, and then Liquid Fuels disperses the money. The money's there, it's got our name on it, we just have to do what we have to do in order to receive it.
Is the amount what you had named yesterday?
In that ballpark,
38,
no, 30,000.
30,000?
In that ballpark, I'm not,
Or what we're gonna get from Liquid Fuels.
yes,
27 something.
27 something,
Yeah.
so almost 30.
But to only a portion of that, and I don't have it really quick in here to look at, but I saw where Liquid Fuels was used for our employees, which is legal.
Well,
how
Liquid
much?
Fuels was also used for the secretary, she paid herself out of Liquid Fuels, and we have to pay all that back. Because that was
Oh,
nothing.
no, this is this year.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
this
that's
year is
whenever I
fine.
had to reimburse the checks.
Okay,
It may be because of, Liquid Fuel was audited late summer, early fall. That may be why
we had.
the flags are up more
Well,
now.
that explains a lot.
Yeah, we got all this before, that's what the kicker was, because they found that there was a $2,000.
Okay, we're moving right along here, what do you mean?
Mhm.
Under solicitor, we still have yet to, find somebody that is willing to sign on as a solicitor. Again, I'm asking if y'all have any ideas, someone we can contact. We would like to keep it within Clearfield County, because if we have any kind of legal action whatsoever, we have to pay for this person to travel, and the borough cannot take that added expense. Anybody else have anything? Okay, under new business. Reverend Spade, our secretary, stated that you wanted passwords added on to,
Well, what I did was, I gave you, each one of you, and there's one blank, that docket number was CP 17 CR 738 2014, if you wanna add that. Even if this doesn't fly tonight, I'd like this as a public record, that this be placed in here and state that it was not ratified. But this is a proposal, resolution, oversight. That was one of the things the auditor said in 2017 audit, that we should have an overseer, a third party, and I thought I was granted in January this position, but it was not done by resolution
what position?
of overseer of finance. So, however,
Not that I'm aware of.
Councillor Glass has been gracious to open up the records, anything I want to see, and the only thing is I didn't get the financial statement from the bank this month. But electronics is a viable right to know that people can come in and ask to see, and it's lawful. And so in this document that I have here, I gave it to you so you could read it. If you want to defer it to next meeting to really go over it, I'm not opposed to that. I don't ever want anybody to do something without having a full knowledge. We debated this I'll be finished here in a couple
Right.
seconds, I'll yield the floor. But in our last meeting on Wednesday, there was debate over the password. What I have in here, that on the 28th, I would like a copy of the portable copy and the password, and for security's sake, you should change the password anyway. I think they said in the discussion that you do it every 3 months. I'm asking for it to be done every month, and on the 28th, after the portable copy is given. It's not something scary. I mean, people have the right to bring flash drives or ask for CDs. And the only thing with flash drives are that they have to be a new flash drive, never used before, because of the possibility of somebody putting in viruses or actually contaminating our computer. I am working on the hard drive, and I've narrowed it down to the board. I ordered it in a new board, no cost to the borough, it was $50. And we're gonna try to get your hard drive back in action. When I took the board off, they were all rusty. I mean, it's a corrosiveness because this is brass. And when that happens, it can malfunction the board and the hard drive's not getting the surge. With all the handling of it, somebody could have zapped it too. I mean, and it was not working for me when I got it. So a new board will be here at the end of the week. I'm going to examine it, get my surge protection on my arms, and I'm going to take it apart and put the new board on, and hopefully you're going to have your hard drive, everything back.
Is that unusual for that to corrode?
No, but just feeling the moisture that's in here, I mean, brass, anybody that knows metallurgic things, I mean, it will, I've fixed it many times, things. I tried to sand it all. I mean, you use a razor, is what you use up.
Right.
And I got it all nice and shiny, and it should have worked right after that. But I'm getting beeps, and that's an error indicator, and the error code that's sounding is that it's between the motor and the board. And so I think maybe what was doing, it was dying because of the corrosiveness of it, and people don't know these. I mean, they don't usually. And I'm surprised that the other counterparty that did it didn't do that first. So
It's all
anyway.
great to me.
Okay.
All my smartphone does is show how stupid I really am.
No.
So
I even conferred with another tech. We can get the whole thing repaired at a cost of $700, but I have to ship it away. I hate to do that.
yeah, no. And we don't have $700.
No, I'm not asking, but I just wanted to make you aware of the cost factor. Yeah.
We're tabling this for right now, correct? So that we have a chance to look over some things.
Thank you for considering.
Next with new business is, I just had Noel put the date June 26th on here, which, as we all know, was the date that this happened in Coalport, the shooting happened. And we had a prayer vigil yesterday at the park, which was a huge turnout. And at that prayer vigil, I got to thinking about how we waited until something like this happened to even get together and pray as a community. And given that, I mean, every year, even the school district has meeting at the flagpole for a time of prayer for the students and protection of the school. So I was wondering what you all thought of as June 26th being a day of prayer for Coalport Borough, where we meet at the park every year on June 26th and have a prayer vigil.
So move.
I can't make that motion.
I made the motion.
Okay.
That's what I meant by so move.
All right, motion made by Jerry Spade, or Reverend Gerald Spade, I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Joe Adams, second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed.
Nay.
Motion carried. You want a discussion, or you just,
You think a separation of,
It's not even
Ours.
separation.
You know, it's just tough to bring religion.
It's not even about religion. I believe in God totally.
Oh, I do too.
My thing is, even the date, I look at things differently. I spent 22 years in the service. We're talking about a gunshot in the air.
Right.
It's happened here before. The only difference is nobody called the cops. Every 4th of July, somebody shoots several guns in the air.
New Year's Eve?
absolute, yeah,
Several
Shotgun-
guys
shotgun.
shoot guns in the air.
No one was.
Fortunately, nobody was. I mean, there's a fine line between blowing things out of proportion and almost for the individual who done it. Now we're kind of like celebrating the date.
I get your point. I do.
So I'm kind of like, I'm the guy that says that Narcan should be sold to those that need it, not given to them. And maybe so many people wouldn't need it so often.
And they have to go back to the same house 3 times in 1 week. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not the same person, it's a different person each time.
Yeah, I'm just, my viewpoints are different. Therefore, it's nice to be able to vote no.
You,
But-
you have absolute right to do it,
Yeah.
and you didn't have to explain yourself.
No,
I appreciate you.
I don't mind. Like I said, it's not the religious side of the house that I'm against. It's the fact that to me, you're almost giving the individual the. I mean, they shut down Coalport for 4 hours and nobody took a ride in the car. I mean, we need to think about that for a minute. When people get wound up, and I understand people are concerned. I was in Omaha, Nebraska less than a month ago, and we heard 5 or 6 different gunshots. We never heard any police whistles afterwards. Okay, and we're talking about a big city,
Yeah.
that happens every day.
Well, my
Reality is
concern,
reality.
I've had several people come up to me and, what are you gonna do? And they actually said that they went to the state police that was there. And the state police said, you're gonna have to go to the borough. Well, with $8,000 left, where are we gonna get police protection, and how could we ever?
We can't afford a cop that, and it doesn't work in Coalport because you hire a guy, you pay a guy, they'd say $35,000 to risk his life. And the first time he finds a kid that lives in Coalport, then they're up here at the meeting want to know why the cops are harassing the kid that lives in Coalport.
Yeah.
Well, we can't find just people that drive through Coalport because you'd never get enough money to pay for the cop that's issuing the tickets.
Yeah.
It's a small town community. If we could put everybody in a glass bubble, life would be so much sweeter.
Yeah.
But we can't.
Well,
I mean, we've had people hit by cars. There's a 4-wheeler accident now. Just couple days ago, a tremendous 4-wheel accident. Does that mean that we should ban 4-wheelers from being in Coalport?
we're liable for it.
The only liability we have is it's posted on the streets that they're not supposed to drive.
I saw a 4-wheeler
Yeah.
just before we came.
I ride mine.
Right down the sidewalk, more than 30 mile an hour.
And
Down
it's
the
a shame.
sidewalk.
Right. And
I,
that's,
I,
you're going to have ignorant people everywhere. And it's unfortunate, but I can't, or the borough council with 5 to 7 people, sit on the streets of Coalport and hold everybody's hand every day and ensure that nobody's doing nothing they're not supposed to do. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. And I don't care if you hire a $35,000 cop. It's still going to happen every day.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop it.
I agree.
It's life. Unfortunately, fortunately
And
for this time,
ETA is usually
40 minutes.
40
it's
minutes.
stated right off from the Clearfield Barracks, it's 40 minutes.
They have been around though more.
Yeah, so it's nice. You see one every once in a while, and
Well, people came out that night, and I said, shelter in place. That's
That's
the
what
only
you're
thing that's the only thing. Stay in. I had them lock up the bar and everybody stay in. Because they didn't know what to do, and they asked me what to do, and I said shelter in place.
Wasn't it the fire company told everybody, well, some people saying that, it wasn't that they told people to go in, and stay in. There was a lot of people just out wandering around because they were kind of nosed at what's going on. So
One neighbor had
the
her
state-
dog out
The state police
sniffing around.
basically told us to tell them to please go in.
I joke.
Yeah.
And for your own safety, but see, that's what I'm saying, you know, that they were here, and for our safety, they did what they could do.
Yes, they did.
You know, but like I said, you cannot put Coalport in a glass bubble. You're not gonna put the citizens of Coalport in a glass bubble, and life goes on. But, you know, unfortunately, I mean, this time, you know, it was somebody serious enough to where they did call it in, but we've all heard gunshots in the air, New Year's, Christmas, 4th of July, it's gonna happen this 4th of July. I just can't see giving people credit for things that they've done that wasn't the brightest thing in the picture to do, and that's what that, to me, does.
I understand that, viewpoint, but it was like, to me, the fact that, you know, we really don't, the school district has not suffered any school shootings, God forbid, but yet they still meet together and do that. They set aside a day a year for any student that wishes to meet at the flagpole and pray. Now,
I
to
don't
me,
think the school's doing it, I think that's a private entity.
but they still allow it to be done at the school, okay?
But why that day,
It doesn't have to be that date.
you know?
It doesn't have to be. If we just wanna take, you know, a day, you know, nitpick a day a year, it does not have to be that date. I just figured that we as a community, it was so nice yesterday, getting together, and Betty McGill done a wonderful job organizing everything and had everybody lined up, and it was a great day to be together and as a community. And different churches just came together and did this. And no, it doesn't have to be that date. It's just a suggestion to have a day of prayer for Coalport Borough. That's it.
I appreciate what you're saying. I had same thoughts when she first asked me, but I moved forward with her and what she wanted to
I have no
do.
problem with prayer.
You know, and there's nothing
Just not
wrong.
gonna stop those individuals.
It's just not gonna stop them.
God can change a heart.
Yes, you can. And I appreciate the prayer today.
Moving right along. Did you get an email concerning that resolution you did the very first of the year when we were dealing with Ed Fosnot about that
Resolution
remember
what?
I said about missing documents from my office? That's one of them. It was the very first
I
one we
have
did
my
for the year.
copy.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you able to provide Coalport Borough so that we can put it in the resolution book, that copy? Because I want it to be the same thing that you have.
If you'll make me another copy and certify it. It's
Well,
certified
if we make a
copy,
copy of yours,
then you can certify it.
correct.
Yeah. But I was gonna yield mine and have you
Photocopy
photocopy
one and
and
certify.
certify.
That works.
That way you have an original that actually has signatures
Yeah, that
instead of
works.
a photocopy.
Yep, that works.
Because it's not appropriate to have one without legitimate signatures.
I agree.
I mean, I could certify as a notary, and you know, make copies, but you don't need to have copies, you should have
The
originals.
original, I understand. I don't care how you wanna do it, it works for me, we just need one for the resolution book. We did have a claim, there was a firefighter that was injured on Thursday, I believe, at a fire in Reed Township. That all has been taken care of. Actually, Jack Lang and this individual was wonderful at taking care of everything themselves. They did the call, they filed the claim, got the claim number, and brought up the paperwork today, so that's been filed.
That's actually the way it should be done.
It's not what Swift Teeter told me.
Swift should, I mean, the fire company should be making the phone call, the person that got injured, they should fill all the paperwork, and then there is no mistakes, there is nothing that we submitted wrong, and then you get a copy of the submitted report, so that the borough has a copy of the submitted report.
Well, I did today, I took
That's up
what
to the
Swift
fire
wanted.
company for taking the
I took what Swift did and I made a form for us and it's in the file cabinet. She filed it in case, you know, the fire company didn't need it.
Be
It's
different
there.
if it's myself or her, but as far as fire company, in different circumstances, hats off to them that they went ahead and done all the forms and turned them in, 'cause that way it's done.
They were there and
It's
that's
them.
what happened.
Did you find 2016 and 2017 and 2018's minutes?
No, sir, I have not.
There again, I have certified
And
copies.
that's, we talked, if you could come up a day where we just have to sit down and make copies and then read.
But mine are not signatures.
I realize that no matter how we do it, unless we go back to the people that should have done it in the first place, or, you know, to make them right, is willing to re-sign and stamp everything, then all we can do is maybe a resolution or something in here stating that they were misplaced, whatever.
Well, give me another week on the hard drive. I may be able to.
And even at that, we still won't have the seal and the signature on the piece of paper. But I can't see any reason why, once we make the book, once we get it in the book, which is a lot of work, that we can't do a front or back page stating that the borough agrees that these are official minutes. They were never signed due to the computer crash and whatever, and make it right that way. Just so
We
it's-
actually have to do.
Right,
We're
we'll
supposed
have
to do an ordinance
whatever-
stating that they.
Whatever it takes, once we get them all gathered up and in the book, whatever the borough council decides to do to make them at least legit, so we can put them in the file drawer. I'd appreciate that help, because that's a lot of work for Noelle, and she's got more than she can handle now.
Okay, anything else on what we've covered so far? Okay, the next two things I'm gonna cover all together. As you know, Facebook has been a sliver of activity over what had happened, and I had gotten several complaints of we don't have police protection, we don't have a one-call system, we don't have this, we don't have that. Okay, so I made phone calls. Even to send out letters to the residents, getting all their information such as phone numbers, addresses, whatever we may need for a one-call system, it's gonna cost the borough almost $200. Chances of people sending those back are slim to none without a self-addressed envelope, which is gonna double that price. But their responsibility if we were to go with this and they don't send in their information. Swift Call is, we're looking at almost $3,000 a year. Blackboard Connect is almost $2,000 a year. That's what the school district has, and they don't advise us to do Blackboard Connect. As far as I'm concerned with a one-call system, when are we ever going to use it except for in an instance like this? So I called the state police and I spoke to them. And I said to them that how I found out about this incident even happening was my neighbor sends me a text message and says, "Do you know what's going on?" And I said, "No, I do not. What's going on?" And she said, "Meet me outside." I met her outside, and that's how I found out what was going on. Nobody called me, nobody informed me. I mean, the same with you guys. Some entity of the police department did not let us know what was going down in Coalport. It was all by word of mouth. So I asked the state troopers what it would be for somebody, a representative of Coalport Borough, to be notified in a case like this because of the one-call system that people are asking for us to get. And this is what I was told. They do not have time to notify a representative of Coalport because they are busy with dispatch and keeping in contact at what's going on, and they are concentrating on the incident at hand. For somebody to take the time to call one of us, contact one of us, and let us know that there is even an incident where we can put the one call into action, it's not going to happen. So I want the residents to know that I've called about this, I've looked into it, I have been advised not to do it because we're probably going to be wasting money because we don't have time to be informed by the people. And let's say, for instance, that just like Kelvin stated, people were calling that shots were fired, and yes, it was actually, an actual incident. But what if it was just somebody shooting up in the air and somebody mistook it? Or what if it was a domestic violence call? We're wasting money because the state police can't tell us anything anyway till they get here and investigate it. And by the time that happens, it's already over and done with. I really think that word of mouth worked a heck of a lot better. Yes, there were some people that didn't know about it, but there were a lot of people busy.
Well, I saw the lights I went out on the porch.
Right, same as everybody else.
People started yelling at me, what should we do? What should we do? And I said, shelter in place. You know, get in your house. And they even turned their lights off. Went in their house and turned their lights off.
Yeah, I mean, the state police said it'd be a waste of money. I myself, from what I found out from the state police, and as a firefighter, know that when you're caught up in an incident, you don't have time to.
The one call that we need is 911.
Exactly,
That's it.
exactly.
And then they'll take care of it.
And they said that they could give us an update whenever everything's over with,
Yeah.
but they can't do anything at the time of dispatch. And so.
Unless it's a criminal investigation, they won't tell you that. But
Right. Also looked into, I got a couple calls from a surrounding community that has police protection. And I spoke to Bigler Township today. Now, they're willing to talk to us about contracting maybe. Here again, we're looking at they're more than 10 miles away. So your response time may be a little bit quicker than the state police, and that's
15
only if the
minutes.
officer's on duty. That's only if the officer's on duty, because they only have one. Now, they said that they are looking to put on a second officer, which would make, contracting with us a little bit more feasible than now. But again, it was $95,000 to get that police officer set up. That's only $5,000 shy of our whole entire year's operating expense.
do they have a cops grant? Or is that
They
cops
what
grant?
they applied for a
I
grant.
think that's what the
but-
3-year one.
They applied for a grant, but they have not gotten approved for that grant
Oh, they
yet.
did.
No, they did not.
So they're footing this.
They
on
are footing this bill, so it cost them $95,000 just to get the police officer set up. That's car, building, uniform, whatever.
And that doesn't include house jail.
The cost
They're
of
not-
this
they're not-
officer, with all the
Still not
expenses,
going with them.
is $60,000 a year. We don't have that either. What they did was they did assess a $10 per capita tax. Now I was told it was $25, but he told me no, you can't go higher than $10 per capita tax. That is above and beyond what they already had for a per capita tax. They had to cover the grant that they applied for only covers 50% of the startup costs, nothing else. And he said it took them over a year.
They paid the first year,
Per capita for us is only $773.
Exactly.
I mean, if we
He
put-
says he has like 1,300 residents or something, so they get a little bit more money than what we would. And he, like I said, it took him over a year to do this. Probably be shot for saying this, but you know what?
Don't. Yeah, don't.
I'm taking orders for flak jackets, body armor.
The best thing for Coalport was what they did. The state police had videotape because somebody was out there videotaping exactly what's going on. They knew who all was involved.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it from start to finish. But we have borough residents that, they're coming down. I don't know if you have a Facebook Reverend Spade or not, but,
I
they
do,
were
but I
coming
don't
down.
use it.
They were coming down on me on Facebook like hardcore, like,
Yeah.
I'm president of council, I should have prevented this, it was all my fault. They were just relentless, okay? I'm sorry, we don't live in Stepford, we don't live in Nirvana, we live in a town with people, and these things are gonna happen. Johnstown has a police presence every day. We've all seen what's going on in Johnstown. Altoona has a police presence every day. Crime's horrible in Altoona. I have people from Arvona telling me, I'm trying to raise kids around here, you need to do something, you need to get a police presence. Well, that's great, because if Coalport has a police presence, whatever's happening here in Coalport's gonna move out of Coalport, and they're gonna go to the next town, which is Arvona. Have at it. People aren't thinking.
Well, just financially,
No,
bottom line,
we
we
can't.
can't afford it.
No, we can't. Now, like I said, the guy from Bigler Township, he's willing to meet and talk and go over stuff, whether,
See,
what we would ever
But
have to do.
do you have $10,000 to contribute to it?
But I don't know what they would.
A minimum of 10,000.
The thing is, we've done this, and I mean, and you, the mayor knows, she's been around, and so have you. Joe's been around. How many times have we tried to get the neighboring communities involved in the police force, and their biggest concern was, well, how much time are they gonna spend here? How much time can they spend there? And if he's doing something there, can he come to our community, and why should we give you money to do that? It's our own fault. You know, you
I
have to carry.
applied for the cop grant and I got it. That's
Perry
a grants
Township
check.
totally surrounds Coalport.
There's Perry Township, you know, but what do you tell Arvona when you say, hey Arvona, we need 15,000 people? Well, I want a contract to say he's gonna be here for 3 hours this day and 3 hours that day and totally available anytime I call, which is totally ridiculous. That's why there's never been a cop in Coalport, it's because of the citizens in Coalport and Arvona and Univille and Lawville. This is why there's no cop here, because Beccaria is plenty big enough and there's money there, if people would just say, okay, I can give up this much, well, what can we get for that? And expect that the cop's gonna be where it's its busiest. And it's never happened. And the mayor's, and I've watched those meetings from early years where they sat here and all they could discuss was the fact of where was the cop gonna spend the most of his time and why should I pay that much?
At that time.
Well, I'm sure that's gonna happen.
And even where the money was gonna come from. And like you said, the 3 years, yeah, they pay the first year, we pay
It's 2
3/4.
years, I think.
Yeah, and then you have to pay half, and then the next year it's less than half, and then the year after that, you can get the grant, you gotta guarantee them a 5 or 6 year contract, and you gotta pay them the full
Yes, sir.
salary for,
Yes, sir.
come on.
Yeah, we
So
we
it's-
turned it down, but I got it.
It's
I mean, if we
unrealistic.
wanted it.
Well, it's even like what Kelvin said, for crying out loud, you know, speaking from experience with my husband having been the police chief in this town, how many times somebody knocked on our door wanting to talk to him because he ticketed somebody for speeding, and I hate to say this, but it was a council member, majority of the time, whenever they knocked on our door wanting to talk to him. Well, you got, you know, my best friend's nephew's cousin, you know, for speeding, and, you know, can you tear up the ticket? And if you don't, you know, your life is pure, pardon my French, hell as a police officer. I've seen it. I saw it firsthand. I saw what Rick went through.
Well, this new policeman, be careful going through Madera, because he's told to write tickets.
He is, and you know, he's working out, from what I understand, what I've spoken to today, he's working out rather well for them, and that's great. Kudos to them. But they are a township, and they could afford it. They could fit the bill. We cannot. We are a small town borough. We have less than $100,000 operating.
We have $8,000 left.
Exactly, and we still have
According
another
to
half of the year to
Noel.
go yet. We've got to get the liquid fuels taken care of, and there's only so much you can pay with liquid fuels.
That's right.
So where are we at? You know,
We're a long ways from April.
We
next
are.
year.
we are. So that's, I just wanted to be informative that I didn't sit on this, that I've been working on this, and this is where we're at. Again, with ordinances and stuff, it's on here because somebody around all this wanted, you know, what about the ordinances, and upholding that and putting new ordinances in. Well, you need somebody, first off, you have to have a solicitor in order to have the ordinances put in place, because they have to do the legal aspect of it,
Yes.
and which we don't have. And then on top of that, you need somebody that's going to enforce the ordinances. You know, the ordinances is just a piece of paper. You don't have anybody to enforce those ordinances. It's just a piece of paper. It says you're not supposed to do that, but there's nobody out there making you accountable when you don't do that. So that's where I'm at there. Any discussion on that?
You have to have enforcement officers. The mayor she can enforce
We
the
do what we
ordinance.
can. The mayor sends out her letter, she lets people know that we do what we can.
Right now, the mayor's gathering up names of vehicles.
Sad part of it also is that a lot of times, and I do believe in this case, the landlord of that particular building does not live in the borough. They live out of town, and you know, they really don't see what goes on, but I heard that they were working on trying to have them evicted. I did hear that, so.
You hear all kinds of things.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
Well, they did send letters out, and the two individuals, two outstanding citizens that lived in the building left.
Well, I know one of them that did, he went and lived with his brother.
So,
Under training, there is a basic training for municipal secretaries and administrators that's happening on September 10th. Now, it is done by PSATS. I don't know if we are a member or not. If we're a member, it's gonna cost the borough $75 if we decide to send our borough secretary. A non-member is going to cost us $125.
That's a township one. That PSAT. That's township.
Where's that one at?
So we would have to pay.
There's 4 different ones. The
Oh,
closest
okay.
one to here is in Johnstown.
Yeah, there was like, they were in Erie and, let me see, Washington County, Erie County, and Cambria
I
County.
make a motion, we send her to training, whether it's 125 or 75 bucks.
Okay, I have a motion by Calvin to send you to training,
Second.
seconded by Reverend Spade. Any discussion? All
Question.
those, what?
Oh, no, the question is, I'm sorry.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
That was September 10th.
September 10th, yeah. I already covered the curb vigil, so we're on to mayor's report.
Like I said, I'm making my list of vehicles. If you know of any, not now, don't give me any names now, but privately give me some names, okay?
Okay.
And of course, there's different grounds and so forth that have to be taken care of too, but that's to come.
Under management report, you have to put director report instead of management because they're really persnickety, because we can't have Kelvin under management because he's on council. He can be a director, but he can't be management. Okay, so director's report.
Explained these earlier. It's been a bad week for equipment. The Missy needs 2 back rims and tires. I called Baker's and they have some used ones out there for $320 a piece. So that's $640 we'll spend there. Or they have the rims for $130 and we can go buy new tires and they're averaging, what did you, last time we checked?
300 piece.
About $300 a piece. So it costs us like $450 if we buy them separately. These ones will be used though.
Is this our local tire person? Because I got a reference for another
I
company, but I'll
I
share
can
that each.
Share that later when we'll call. Then there was a bent cylinder on the backhoe that we've been nursing for over a year. It finally went. So myself and Walt took it off the other day and it's over at Mike's. And he thought he could straighten it and put a new seal in it for us. So right now, both equipment that we use on a daily basis is dead. Now I have the backhoe chained, so if I had to use the bucket for something I could. I just don't like to because I'm afraid of bending that other cylinder because all the pressure's on that other
Yeah,
cylinder.
one side.
Other than that, I don't know what the cylinder will be yet. Mike's been pretty fair and reasonable and he's local, so that's why I took it there.
Yeah, we had one rebuild on that. We had it done up at Borough. They did, they flushed it and did seals and stuff in it, and it was like $225. That was parts and to do it, but they're not cheap.
No. So
What's the
that's-
cost of mowing down there? Wages and equipment? And what would you
The part-
estimate? And what would you estimate to cost?
We done it in 10 hours. So wages wise, you're talking $160 in wages and 5 gallons of gas. So you're probably talking less than $200 for us to mow the grass and farm.
If we get desperate, I have a gentleman that would do it first time free. But that would give him an idea of what it would cost. But he would do the free one. What if you get in a jam?
Right. As you notice, and then that way it's out there too, there is some areas in the park and the old Tinnerly field we're not mowing. My waste management, water waste management classes that we went to,
MS4.
MS4, actually that's one of their biggest deals is returning some of these mowed big fields back to meadows so they're retaining water. So we've actually, the reasons that we've been leaving part of the park, it's at the far end, nobody's ever there anyway. It's past Pavilion 3, and the cheerleading field we haven't been mowing is just to see how that turns out as far as with this MS4.
Well, you're actually
And we're
supposed
saving.
to remove all the turf and plant specific vegetation.
Well, that's only in their rain catches, he told me, according to that book.
Yeah,
Like we did,
that's,
like Ray did at Rudy's and stuff like that. Now that's called a rain catch. And yes, specific plants that absorb. But as far as the meadows, he said that they just leave it and then once or twice a year, they mow it down to a 12-inch. Leave the mower deck up and leave it at 12 inches. So the purpose of it, what I got from talking to him more, was to retain the water. Not necessarily. So and to save money, I mean, there was no sense mowing a baseball field that doesn't get used. Now the Little League field has been getting used, so we ensure that it is kept mowed. Other than that, they do all the work to it.
Yeah, they're supposed to, anyway, they talk, they're gonna tear that all out and redo the whole thing.
I've talked to Jeff some more. He'd like to go that route, but some of the guys are kind of backing off because of the expense and things like that. Drainage is a big thing. He said he wants to work.
He'd like to have,
drainage.
he'd like to get a new
And
outfield, like a French drain system to.
I know that we have in the last couple of meetings showed an interest in wanting them to do these things in the fields, but we are going to have to remember as a borough, if there is a team or anybody that comes in and starts playing ball, and we should do it with Jeff, we should get copies of the coaches' clearances and also their insurance papers if they're certified to ensure that they're certified by the baseball leagues for insurance purposes. But I do think that one of the biggest thing is the clearances, because if something would happen in the borough, in a little league, or baseball, or soccer, or any kind of thing like that, and then it's determined that we have not verified their clearances, that's neglect on our part. So,
I thought that was in the works though,
well, we did mention it to Jeff that we wanted,
and he said he will do
and
that.
he said he would do that, but
That hasn't been done yet.
no, and like I said, baseball season's over. So how fast those kind of things are going to progress now until the next season, or until somebody else shows interest. I just, as a reminder in our own heads here, that we probably should set something up as far as using them fields and for a specific league.
Are the bleachers that are up on the old railroad bed,
They're serviceable. We checked.
They
them.
are
One of them needs a new bench on it, but I'm not going to go out and put a brand new 2x10 on a bench that's going to sit on the hill. Now, when I asked Jeff, I said if he'd have told us earlier, we knew there was going to be numerous games there, that we would be more than happy to get them down there and get them looking better. Just for our side of the point. That
they need painted?
Right. That's things that can happen like that. But I just think that as a borough, we better remember, with the new laws and regulations, when we tell somebody that, yeah, you can go ahead and play ball, that we need to start checking clearances prior to.
So we are insured for that.
It's just like anybody else down at the park. If somebody gets hurt down at the park, that's why we asked him, as far as if they're with the specific, like the Williamsport, with the baseball league type thing, they're SBCCA, AB, and GF and C's. We need a copy of that, so that we know that they're sanctioned by a league. And like I said, I think we should also, coaches nowadays, to coach anything, has to get a clearance. Therefore, I really feel that we should get a copy of their clearance and keep it on file.
Right.
I even had to do it for umpires.
Right. So, just in the future, if anybody would approach us about using the field for a
Very good.
designated league, then we need to get more involved as far as paperwork. That's it for me. I'm done. I spent enough of the money. And
Okay.
Catherine's still. Are you going to do that with her?
Let me do that with her.
Okay.
We down under old business, we're gonna do Catherine too. So finance and treasury report, Noel, you're
I
up.
thought we were going to do the right to know law report. before
Oh, I didn't have that written in, I'm sorry. Yes, Reverend Spade, you're right to know, report.
I complied with a right to know request that was June 12th, 2019. And here what I thought was appropriate, I redacted the names and the parcels numbers off of it. They filed a complaint, just that and sent me a statute, and I served that. I showed you the last meeting, one of the meetings. I don't know whether it was the 12th or the, I think it was the 12th
During the workshop.
workshop. That they had the same company that's asking filed with some school district a complaint because they redacted all the names of the citizens, and the judge upheld and said that I was supposed to give the names and the parcel numbers. You don't have to give addresses, but you have those two entities were in that statute, and I'll give you a copy of that if you want. I just don't have.
No,
I don't
it's
think
fine.
it's here.
I mean, I don't, I personally
But
don't.
I said, was it under appeal? And she didn't answer me, so I went to my boss at the Right to Know office. He said, yes, it's under appeal.
Yeah.
So my question to you as councillors is, should I hold until there's a ruling on this? Should I stay with this? That means that I was partially compliant. We can be partially compliant. And they can go after us with an appeal like I did with the fire company. And I just want to know what council wants me to do. I mean, I am standing on what I did as correct. And I actually told her that the first one should have been that way too, but I didn't have control of it. So she understood that. She's been real nice. I mean, Trisha, or what is it? F-R-A-S-E-T-T-O. I'm not a phonetics major.
Rosettos?
Okay. She has been very gracious, but she's a little upset with me that I didn't give her what she wanted.
My question is, how important, I mean, she's got stuff. Why is the names so important?
We're not allowed to ask. And right to know, you're not allowed to ask why they're doing what they're doing.
Now,
But if they have the parcel numbers, all I have to do, and when you were talking about one call, go to GIS. You can look and see everybody's name and address. It's on. So if they know the parcel and the name of the person, they can go
on
on.
the county website.
That's right, GIS. And in fact, I referred her to the assessment office or tax claim bureau if she wants information. I didn't want to be the one giving out information, because these are third parties, and I agree with what the councillor once pointed his finger at me. He said, you have to let the third parties know, and that's correct. But it's under appeal, even though the Right to Know officer, it went to a common pleas, and common pleas ruled that you had to give the parcel number and the name of the person.
Is it not public knowledge though? Like, can't somebody get the same information by going to the courthouse?
Yes, it can. And they're forcing me to give this information, and I'm just coming to you. I've asked for a 30-day extension. She granted me a 30-day extension. And I told them that I was bringing it up in council to see what is your pleasure. I'm not here as I'm only your servant as a Director of Right to Know.
I make a motion that we do exactly what Jerry did and we'll ride the ride out until either the appeal is decided or
Thank you.
we have to go to Harrisburg ourselves. So I'm just gonna, to end this, make a motion that we do exactly what Jerry did.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Remember the letter I sent to you, because we were trying to organize the borough, you wanted things, and I sent you a letter and stated that until things are, more organized here, it would be a little bit hard to give you your request, remember?
Yeah.
So,
But you legally were responsible to
but,
do it.
now, hold on a minute.
But I didn't
But
force
this
the
is my
issue.
point.
I didn't force
This
the
is
issue.
I have a question to ask you, that's why I brought it up.
Mhm.
Is there any way, since, you verbalized that, you wanted to know if you should wait for the appeal process, see what happens there? If she pushes the issue, are we able to give her the same type of letter and say, we understand that this ruling is under appeal and until that decision?
I told her that already.
Okay.
I did exercise my capacity as right to know officer. I mean, I'm registered with Harrisburg. And my liaison from Right to Know told me that it is under appeal, and there's no decision yet. And it could go for years.
The most that can happen is we can end up in Harrisburg.
Sounds like it's been going on for quite a while as it is.
Yeah, 2017.
I think we write out Jerry's feelings and my motion is that we let Jerry continue doing what he's doing.
Alright, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Joe out of second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you for backing me in this trust.
Okay, we're on to finance and treasurer's report.
Alright, I printed out the budgets for you guys. Since I was able to put in the employee tax withholdings and stuff like that into it, so now the amount is not right again because we reconciled before I had done that. And on this paper, I have the amount that you guys actually budgeted for this year, so you guys can look at that and look at all the months that I have printed out for you.
I thought that was excellent. Thank you for doing that extra step. And I asked our treasurer to make me a special one, and I think she gave it to everybody. And that last, we are down to $8,284.98, and I would ask the treasurer, is that all we have until next April?
Is that the total amount?
Now this was also accrual, but what that means is she has bills in here that haven't been paid. But this registers and states what, even with the bills, that's all that's left.
That's all we had left. We had less than that last year.
What's that?
We had less than that last year.
At this time of the year?
Well, yeah, but she's forecasting in two, right? What was budgeted, how much you'd have paid.
No, this is what
For
was,
June, you only have $8,000 in the bank.
We have more than that in the bank. We have roughly 59,000 right now. And in liquid fuels, we have roughly 25,000.
how much taxes are yet to come in? You
Until
haven't,
the end of the year.
you won't know till the end of the year.
The end of December, 1st of January,
That's what's at the end of the
we
year.
get some. I know we got roughly about 4,700. It varies, but around 4,700 right here. Maybe up to size 5, depends on
Right.
who can pay.
How much,
and what.
can you tell me right offhand, what did you collect in taxes? What did we collect in taxes so far this year?
45,000.
Yeah, it should be.
$713.04.
Which we only budgeted 40, if I'm not mistaken. And this cash feels pretty good. I'm not great with finances, guys. I look at it, and as long as it doesn't look like someone else taking any money out of my piggy bank. But even the electric bill, we budgeted $9,000, and we all know, as it stands right now, if our bill continues what it is, we're not gonna reach $9,000. Thank God. right? I mean, we've done things. The only bills that we hope to come up, we've actually $500 for unclassified expenditures. I'm probably gonna blow that this week. But it's either that or just stay at home, whatever they
Well,
want.
it's inevitable, every year, we
But-
we have to fix something.
Right, and repairs of tools, I mean, we're looking at $4,000. I could probably go back and look, but we haven't reached I know with what I bought, we haven't reached nowhere near $4,000. So there is some money there, and we're not, I mean, we feel like we're in a distress because we'd like to make sure everything's right, because we have to account for it. But with all the circumstances and everything that's happened with this year, and we all do know that once Catherine gets this tax thing fixed up, we're gonna have to come up with some money anyway. She does, I mean, it's irrelevant. Sometimes you have to pay to get things done. We're gonna have to pay.
She hasn't submitted a bill yet for,
Well, she's not, and like you said, I really feel that after this mess is cleaned up, we'll have to have another meeting to see how much money we have, to see just how much we think that was worth to us. And yes, there should be something put in that direction. I know she's doing a lot of work, and Noelle's gonna read something here that we received from her, just to kind of remind us. Plus Noelle's doing a heck of a lot of work. I mean, Catherine doesn't get the information unless Noelle finds it and sends it to her. So, and she's come up here at nights, and I know she sits at home and does things on her, to try and keep things straight.
She worked Saturday. It was her Saturday.
Yes, sorry.
She took a couple of days, she wasn't feeling well, so then she turns around and comes in Saturday and works. So, she's putting in the time and the effort. We just hope it's for the good. We knew this year, going in this year, was gonna be a mess. You knew it, starting in February. Heck, it took us till now to even get a piece of paper that we could all make sense of and tell us how much money really was in there.
first 3 months we were in panic stage.
Correct. So, I mean, yes, we're not gonna go out and buy a new Taj Mahal. We're not gonna go buy a brand new backup. We'll do what we can to keep them running. But I'm not ready to pack my bags in yet and say, hey, we're done. When I do that, then you know that we'll overhurt. Because I do this just for the fun of it. Keep me busy. So, all we need to do is keep looking at it and making sure that we're not throwing money away. And Mr. Spade keeps pretty good tracks to ensure that I don't do that. So, that's all we can do. The lights are still on. They might not be the brightest, they're still on.
May not be anybody home. We're still on.
Can we fix this light someday? The poor mayor's in the dark.
Always has been.
I was just gonna say, I was afraid to turn that light on, and then she realized that just where she's at.
Put the clamp on, right?
Yeah, son of a gun. Yes, Mr. Spade. I
You
don't,
would have looked
I
at
really
that.
don't go around
Yeah, I
and
would
turn
have
the
looked
lights
if it would have
on.
come on.
Never even thought about that. That light will be fixed before the next meeting.
Thank you, thank you.
Probably
I turned the
tomorrow morning,
lights
right?
on in my office, nothing happened. Walt come in today, says, why are you sitting in the dark? Flips the lights on and the lights light up. The other night I was here, same thing happened. I flipped the lights on, I kept flipping the switch, no lights. Calvin comes in, flips the lights on. It's me.
I just want everybody to realize that we're here for a reason. Therefore,
They're $6. They're $6 a light. I make a motion that we convert to LEDs and save some more electricity.
we have them in the hallways out here,
Okay.
but the law library paid for them, but we wanted to see just how efficient they were. And I believe
It's
the
really a
one,
lot brighter though. isn't
right,
it?
and if you notice the one coming in the hallway has a LED, okay?
We'd be able to see the mayor if you put LEDs in it.
So,
Shoot,
That's-
wants to remain in the
again,
dark.
I know what it's gonna take to keep some of my equipment up. So changing over a light bulb right now is
Secondary.
secondary. You know, we have
I
priorities.
yield to you.
Very
You know,
nice. That's
I have a
nice.
street that one person drives down. I'm not necessarily gonna fix that pothole before I fix the one on Main Street where 40 cars drive down it, okay? I have priorities. And I hope they make sense.
I yield to you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Spade.
Also, whenever you guys did your budget, you combined Social Security and Medicare in the same category. So whenever I broke those up, it's number 211 and 213 on your guys' budgets. Together they were budgeted as 2,000, so I kept the 2,000 for each category. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that because I didn't know exactly how much would be budgeted within just those two.
It would be 1,000 a piece then, because if we have $2,000 and it's both Social Security and Medicare, in order to break them up, you would split them in half and it would be
I
1,000
wasn't
apiece.
sure what the council wanted to do, so I just wanted to hold off on that.
Can we jump back to the director one more time? To get it on record, I understand there's a meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Ah.
Can you get it?
I'm sorry, Mr. Spade. Sometimes I should write.
I
more
just
things
want to
down.
get it on record.
And only because I spoke to everybody individually, I
Under the
guess.
director's report.
One more thing then for Coalport, so then I can be quiet so we can move on. There is a Jason Snyder who is an engineer for a township, but he's also an engineer for the state. Works for nothing. Mr. Joe Adams here is knowledgeable of that individual, is aware of that individual. And then I also have Rebecca Holland. Did I say that? Rebecca Holler. Holler. Rebecca Holler from Dirt and Gravel, the conservation officer for Clearfield County. They're coming here at 9 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to do a little tour of Coalport for our storm drains and things. Primarily, my concern is, since Mr. Spade got me started, is Myers Run and the condition it's been in for the last 9 years. They're going to come up and see what we can actually do specifically just for that area. I requested a water test due to the fact that there's not any settlement, there's no orange tint, there's no white or gray film developing on any of the pipes or anything where that flows, which she said was an indicator of mine water. And the reason why we've been having, according to her, some of our hardest times is because it's associated with mine water, not storm drainage. So they're actually coming up tomorrow so that we can discuss. Mr. Spade actually took his drone and we tried to fly up to see different areas. He took his camera, he took some other pictures of where we did a walkthrough farther up the stream, took pictures, places where we should get water samples. To me, I think the water's a lot cleaner than what they think it is, or what they're claiming it is. So I wanted to do that project by itself to see if we can get any money from Dirt and Gravel. And she even said there might be some other places that we might be able to come up with some funds to fix the problem we have there.
Act 13.
Act 13 money. And it's not our Act 13 money. It's
The governors.
the governor's Act 13 money. Supposedly he has a rainy day fund of Act 13 money that if they designate appropriately, then he'll give it out. So you're coming tomorrow, aren't you? Mr. Spade and I and Walt, that's why I canceled that one appointment.
I didn't get my CD finished. I was going to burn one, and it didn't work right for some reason.
I think the walkthrough with her is going to be more. Like I said, I'm going to bring my side by side up just in case she would be willing to ride to the top and see that the water's not coming out of a mine pit. Anything we can do. I know Mr. Snyder possessed the thing that he actually wanted us to tear the building down and leave it an open stream. And hopefully then maybe if we had to tear the building down because they deemed it necessary, then we could get funds from someplace else to put a building up. So there's some avenues there, maybe some good luck charm somewhere, but we'll find out tomorrow and then go from there.
There is residue of coal in the stream.
Yeah.
So engineer Snyder believed that we should find in the water quality aluminum and some other.
What happens where there's still stuff that was never burnt? Where it comes down like past the bone, where the dynamite shack is.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a bank there 10, 12 feet high, and when you would get these severe thunderstorms that just kind of stalk over the area and dump it would back wash that back in under maybe 3 or 4 feet, then that would fall down in, and that was a combination of the coal and the rock combined, and then that's how we got such a buildup that we have below.
Councillor Glass pointed out the water coming out of the side of the hill. So we have infiltration through the mine refuges up there that could be red dog now, it burnt so much. So we have penetrating water coming down through that, and it does appear to be clear, but until we get that water sample, we're not going to be able to prove
Yeah, we
anything.
know what's up above is good water, you know, where it starts from, it's very usable water up above.
And that's why I want her to look, it's what's running through, because even down at the Taj Mahal itself, if you go to the back of the stream now, and you can see where we have gotten it running straight, where it curved, there's actually a seam of coal that's probably 1 foot and 1.5 feet deep, where it was never even, whether it was lined out or just piled up there. So yeah, that would affect it, where if we can get that water away from there.
But there's definitely erosion happening.
Oh yeah,
So
that's how you end up with so much, the silt and various below.
We removed over 20 tons of that stuff at the bottom of Myers Run today. 20 tons. I average 4 buckets, tobacco buckets, so that's about 3.5 tons. And we did 5 loads, 6 loads. 6 loads today, just to get it away from the pipe down there at Myers Run.
And part of that MS4 is we're going to be liable for that in the future, so almost need to have all of that cleaned out and then grass growing on all that, and we'll be liable for that in the future. But you said they're not going to do it for now, maybe 10 years from now.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, let's get back to the finance and treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam President.
Does anybody have any questions on anything?
So what we see in June as bills and money that's been spent, that's the net income is minus $3,000.
Like I said, that's not going to be right because of us reconciling and then me putting in the employee fees.
Her and Scott were in the middle of, when I talked to Catalina, they told me that we had to take and reconcile each and every month, reconcile the finances with what's in the bank. And so it's a process to do that. Like, there's a lot of things you have to do in order to reconcile. And Scott was in the process of doing that. So it has not been completed. And of course, she can't do it until he shows her what's going on.
He did reconcile 2018 though.
Yeah.
So just
2018 was
from
done.
2000, like the end of 2018 till now, it's not reconciled anymore.
Oh, well,
And
Well,
he
that
did
would be good.
start at the beginning of this year. So part of this year is completed.
I really believe he's an asset.
definitely.
I mean, if they decide they don't want to audit, we can appoint three auditors at $1,500 would be my recommendation. And with what he does, I think we can do it. And we have some good people in town.
You're telling me that, did he tell Kelly that he is actually was able to reconcile all of 2018?
Yeah, I sent an email to them yesterday and to give them the update, and I told them that he had got us reconciled from last year.
Fantastic, because that's
The
the
audit
audit.
that they're looking
That's what we're looking for, thank you.
So you want us to ratify what was done in June? Is that what you want us to do as
Well,
I mean,
actually,
you've already paid the bills,
Correct.
so we need to ratify it. I mean, in my opinion, we need to ratify. I know that Councillor Zubich would say ratify is not the word, but I believe it is. After the fact, you ratify. And council can ratify it.
I don't care how it's done as long as it's done.
I make a motion that we ratify the, what has been transpired in the June report of budget that has been paid.
I have a second for that.
Oh, I'll second.
Please make sure you use the word ratify too, please.
That means we're going back to something, that you've already done it, and we're just authenticating what you did.
I don't wanna prolong this, because I understand where Mr. Spade's coming from, but I started in February of 2018. And I know for a fact that, you know, and I understand your viewpoint, but I know that we never voted on paying a regular bill. It was always voted on that the bills were paid. I guess it's the word that you're looking for, because
Well, no,
I'll be honest with you, I went through the bills, Mr. Spade, and if I wait till, let's say August 6th meeting, to pay the electric bill for July, we're late.
You've already got, you'll end up with a penalty.
You understand what,
Well,
there's
I'd like to
no
really
way,
see that, because I
There's-
don't
yes.
think you would.
I would, I know it, I came in here this year
Because
with
they,
no secretary and started looking at bills.
There's penalties.
There are-
Right, because I got the bill on the 6th or the 7th, and it was due by the 27th. Okay?
well, then we should have the bills for,
No, you don't.
You don't, I'm getting
For
you the mail.
instance, right
You,
now
you
is
get
the
your
first.
electric bill so often, then I get my water bill on a certain date, then later on I might, and this is, when my feelings is when we vote on this, we vote on the fact that, yes, the water bill was paid, and yes, we paid the regular $200 water bill, there isn't a $600 charge there, because then it would bring you to attention, you would say, wait a minute, before I say yes to these bills, last month it was $200, this month it's $400, why the difference? And I should be able to, you or her, or I, should be able to explain to you the difference why we had to pay $400 this month versus $200. But to keep this flowing,
you didn't pay one month or something.
well, but see, and that's what I'm saying. As long as I'm paying the bills, the
Yeah.
utility bills. Now, if
Well, like
I'm
the
gonna
water bill's not due until the 5th, we could have looked at it tonight and.
pay it tomorrow, but see what I'm saying? You understand where I'm coming
That's
from?
the only one
Well,
that you can do.
That's
late
the only
if
one you
want.
could do it, because I could walk it.
Oh, and they definitely have a 15% penalty.
Right.
You pay that
You
15%.
understand? And I know since I've been here, I'm a newcomer, but since I've been here, even the past management director's aspect was, we pay the bills, it gets put on the monthly sheet and we show up here, because we're at July now, so we're looking at June stuff, and you're looking to make sure that I didn't pay any money out that should have been paid out. Then we vote on that and say, yep, he paid the bills.
We're ratified. I mean, if
you
we didn't vote yet, did we?
no.
You got it
but-
seconded, you know, but
Yeah,
now we're
we got
having
a second.
discussion.
Yeah.
And like I said, but, you know, I just,
Well,
To me,
I like what Mr. Zubich said when I didn't catch it the night, but he actually reinforced what I was saying. He said the county, 3 is commissioners. The controller brings the bills in and he voted. He actually
right,
stated
and that's,
it.
well, yeah, but see, I think we'd have to verify that with because my understanding is he's telling you exactly the same way I am telling you now.
Yeah.
I pay the bills, and then I'm gonna bring this into you, and I'm gonna tell you that this is what we paid in June for electric, this is what we paid in June for water, this is how much money we collected from the park, this is how
And so-
much water,
And so
and then
with
you say,
Barbara-
yep, my fund, it looks like if my bank statement says I have $47,000, and with you paying all them bills, it's, our budget with that matches that, and there's no,
Well, we're
unusual-
voting to authenticate what you did,
oh, yeah.
to back you up is basically.
That's what we're saying
That's
here.
what it's
I mean,
on.
and I appreciate the backup, but I personally, after some of the things I've went through, even here, and like I tell her, all that week she gathers them up, and then Thursday or Friday, either I and Joe sign the checks and we put them in the mail. okay? So there's never one signature, so there's no question on, okay? And now that she's bonded, Joe's bonded, and I's bonded, and that gives us 3 people to sign. So there's always gonna be 2 people. And at times like paychecks, and I've told Noel, because of their paychecks, I would appreciate it if she would call Joe to see if he can come up and do our paychecks, so that Joe's signature's on our paychecks, not mine and hers. To try and keep that separate.
Yeah.
You know, so nobody can say, well, you're signing your own checks.
Conflict. of
Yeah, like
interest.
I would have Calvin and Joe sign my paycheck, so I'm not signing my own.
Right.
Okay?
Good point.
And that's the only thing when you mention it, I just want it understood that, yes, we're paying our bills, and you're approving the fact that I paid the bills right,
We're
Okay.
authenticating you.
authenticating them. Okay?
But if we have objections,
Well, but that's the thing, that's where you're gonna catch that guy that's doing something wrong,
yeah,
okay? Because if I can't explain why there's a $200 difference in the water bill, or why I wrote 2 checks for the water bill, then that's my job. Then you can have me thrown in jail.
why did you pay 2 bills?
I'm not, that was an example, Mr.
Oh.
Actually, you pay 5 water bills. I got them down.
5 water.
Yes.
Yes.
We get charged separately for each individual, the park,
Fire companies.
fire company, the sewage up here, the water up here, and is it, maybe I'm mistaken, maybe it's only 4. I'm
I
saying
think
the
it's
7,
only 4.
it's 4 water bills. And it's all due to trying to
Now,
save
do you
money.
have that separated now on our bills, that we see the fire company, what we're paying for water? Because that'd be a good thing to know.
No,
And that's
all you know-
something we weren't told when we were talking about what we give,
Their last bill was $2.45.
It's not like
That's
they,
it.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay?
well,
They don't hang out down there. I mean,
It's-
before when I was part of the
That's
fire
why it
company,
was
I played
never
cards.
brought up. Am I gonna $2.45 for what they do?
they don't wash your trucks or anything?
I
Of
don't-
course, the truck
It doesn't
is-
take that much.
It doesn't take all that much.
See, we don't, on all of our entities, you know how you pay a separate, like the $41 fees no matter what. The boroughs doesn't work that way. Ours is by usage.
Just by, it's just by
I thought
straight
you had to
use.
pay for 5,000 whether you use it or not.
Residential is different than
Residential.
Yeah.
The borough, we pay, now our sewage is on that set thing, but our water bill will vary by the amount of water we use due to the fact that we don't have a specific set amount, just like with the fire company. They only pay for the water that comes out of the spigot. And that's all done through the water company, BCI.
Well, I saw
So it's,
washing the truck, so we're gonna cut that out.
No, we're not.
I'm just
That's how you keep trucks looking the
I
way
gotta
that
say,
one looks.
water's cheap compared to cotton panels and stuff
This
like
kid,
that.
this kid.
Okay?
Question.
You'll see us washing tobacco and the Missy too, just to hose the stuff off.
Basically, my take on finance and treasurer's report is just how Calvin explained it. The report is what was paid. And then there's a motion to accept that report of what was paid.
Yes.
That was my take on the finance report.
If you see something totally bizarre, then that throws a flag up.
Right,
Please bring it up.
exactly. That's why we're here. And you know, why was this paid? Why was that paid? But that was my take on what a finance report is. Finance committee is reporting on what was paid. So did I have a motion to accept the finance report?
Was that piece of pipe on here? Was that gonna be
No,
next
we just
month?
got that, so it'll be next month. Cause
Okay.
matter of fact, I had to pay for that up front, so that should have been with June's bills.
Yeah,
The pipe, now what would that be under? See, that's under
that would be
your
under repairs.
repairs and liquid fuel. And it should have come out of liquid fuel,
That pipe?
yes.
Yeah, the pipe would come out of
How does
liquid
it come
fuel.
out of liquid fuel?
Any
Because it's highway.
highway, all the pipes that we
Oh, that pipe's actually gonna go under our,
all the storm drain pipes and stuff are all covered under liquid fuels.
thank you for the answer. Question.
Do I have a motion to accept the finance report?
I thought we had that.
He did, and
You
I
did?
seconded it.
And you seconded it?
And then I
Okay,
asked for a question.
Thank you. You're gonna keep me on track.
Thank you.
All in favor signify by aye.
Alright,
All opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion to pay the upcoming bills to keep the borough running until the next meeting?
I make a motion to pay the bills, to keep the borough operating till the next meeting.
Kevin seconds, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, also for under bills, we had gotten a bill in from the Teeter Group for Calvin's bond, and it's $250.
How much?
$250.
That's reasonable.
He has to be bonded, so there's no way out of it, so.
Motion to pay the bill.
I have a second,
I'll
Kevin seconds it. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Question: Can Calvin vote or no because it's his
carried. Calvin
bond?
cannot vote because it's his bond.
I'm not voting for my bond, I'm voting to pay the bill.
You still have to fill that out for me.
Okay, so,
Here's your piece of paper.
yeah. So, you're only allowed so many questions per meeting, and you've reached your limit, so you're done.
Well, I have to follow the rules.
What's this?
No, that's exactly what I want.
I'm teasing you.
I'll fight for you.
And I'll fight for you. We're a team.
Alright, under old business, we have that $300 for the cameras in the park, that was donated by the local church. So Joe and I were talking today, where did you say that we got that last camera at?
The one I got it at Sportsman's Guide. They're an online type of a place that has guns, bullets, stuff like that, you know.
Oh, he has something.
Hunting supplies, things like that.
Did you write that down?
Yeah.
Sportsman's
Guide.
Sportsman's Guide.
Before we do anything, can we open this camera thing up for discussion?
Sure.
And the camera is a Browning camera.
Give me a second. Well, this is still in my head.
Okay.
It's an external camera. It's an external camera.
Yes.
You'll have to correct all my spelling.
That's fine. I just mainly need you to sign it. That's it. I could have filled in everything else.
Anyway.
Yes.
Where are we gonna put a camera?
You're saying, okay.
Up on that telephone pole.
Okay, now who's gonna check that camera?
You have to make sure you get a Wi-Fi one. I can actually, if I had my phone, look at that one. I just bought another one like the.
See, we were discussing the Wi-Fi thing today.
You have to have a password.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be that I could go down there and look at it.
The distance from the park to where you would, how would that work?
Well, what's the target? What are you targeting?
We wanted to
Pavilion
be
1,
able
2,
to
huh?
look at the park.
When you need more than one camera?
Well, they gave us the first camera we bought, which is already down there, was $150, just shy of $150. So the church had
Game cameras
donated.
is what they are.
Oh, so you don't have Wi-Fi? You have to actually physically take the card out.
Take
Yes.
card out, put another card in.
I can, on my two cameras that one is run in my office, I Wi-Fi into it. I can speed go backwards in it and look at it.
I have a security system at my house, same thing. Yeah, but it runs by Wi-Fi. But we're talking about the park.
We don't have Wi-Fi at the park though.
Oh, that produces Wi-Fi.
The camera itself produces
So
one?
you would have, if I plunged it into a computer up here,
I
I would have service.
I'll back up. You have to have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because you're using the borough's Wi-Fi to run your camera right now, correct?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not using it. I could, but I'm not. That one has the password for here, and I could use it to look at that. But
That's what I'm saying. People don't realize when you say, I would love to have a camera in the park, okay?
because you don't want to be climbing up to get that card out.
Okay.
How we've done it before.
That's where I'm getting at. See, that's another one of those things where
How big's the chip?
If I owned the house down there and my Wi-Fi would reach the camera, I would say okay.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna spend $500
Rolling
or
over.
$200, let's say, on a Wi-Fi camera
It never fills.
that does me no good without taking it down, bringing it up
keeps
here, reading it,
rolling
and then
over.
taking it back down.
No, I don't, no.
It'll
That makes
race.
sense. No, I'll.
Well, we have, what we have down there now is not a Wi-Fi camera. It's a regular one, use an SD
Is it
card, we have to
working?
pull it out, yes.
Well, then,
But we still have to purchase the other cameras.
I understand.
And
But we
my,
were deciding on Wi-Fi or a regular camera.
Why take up another expensive Wi-Fi when we're getting rid
Well,
of what we have?
see, and that's the thing though, somebody donated money specific for that and they should have been explained to them then.
The extra
The
expense.
well, the unrealistic aspect of having a camera down there, because for me to climb up a ladder, to climb up a tree, once a week, twice a week, even once a month, probably about once a month,
Once a month.
to change batteries and get things, unless something would happen. And then you're gonna pay for my time to go through those to see if there's anything on there that happened. So the $200 donation per se turned into a $1,000 expense for the borough.
$300 donation, you said.
Okay, $300 donation actually turned in, if you would count over the years, the amount of time and money that we're gonna put into this camera is actually cost the borough money.
You need a point-to-point system that you can connect down there, and then you can set in this building and watch and monitor. That's what you need.
That'd be a boring day, wouldn't it?
I was telling,
It's very boring.
I mean, unless somebody says,
What's the
hey,
deal?
there was something going on at the park last night.
Yeah.
Then you check it.
Yeah.
Okay? But again, like I said, it's up to council. I don't care. I'm just, as a manager's viewpoint, I'm looking at that you're taking a person's donation that's costing you money.
Well,
I'll bring a chip up with like a year ago's pictures on, and let you look at it, and you can pick people out just like.
I have the I have 5 of my own game cameras that I go out in the woods, but I don't have to climb a tree, hope nobody steals it, because as soon as them kids see me climbing a ladder up a tree and putting that in there, you know how liable it is real quick.
they stole my $150.
Okay? And I'll do whatever you want. I'm just saying that in the future, people ought to look at, I'm willing to donate this for this reason, just what it's gonna cost us in the long run.
Well, you can spend $40, have a glass case, plug in to the pole so you don't have to do batteries, because I heard you say batteries. And it's gonna run
You put one
10
battery,
Not
you put
solar.
batteries in it once a year.
You
Once a
could
year.
do solar
Solar
too.
powered
Yeah.
camera, 5 solar powered cameras.
And that's fine. And if I can get it high enough in the tree,
Oh, you will, that's no
To keep-
problem.
you know, people.
It isn't, no,
No,
we had it up about
And it-
20, 22 feet.
Right, to where people
They
can't
really
reach it.
didn't notice it, it's
Right.
down when it's face high is when everybody like.
Right, and like you said, if I run an extension cord down and plug it into one of them posts, it ain't gonna take long. But we get down there and they've actually taken the swings and swung around the post and they disappear.
I don't.
Taking the
understand
chains
that.
off the swing sets.
I don't,
I mean, this
I
is
don't really
all the
understand
fine,
that.
these are the fine residents of Coalport. They get down there, you know, the ones that, you know, worry about
Don't
being
blame
dark-
me, don't blame me.
dark down there because they leave their kids get down there by themselves unsupervised, and then I have to get down and repair equipment.
Well, if it's not only wrapping it around there, the one they were wrapping it around the phone line that went over to across the creek.
You know, or going up to the thing, turning the water on, and then letting the water run.
Have my pen back, please, 'cause I'm
Okay.
gonna take notes.
You know,
Or
I've-
climbing on the roof of Pavilion 3 just because it's
Just
someplace
because they
to
can
be.
get up there to be.
Do
See,
you have a turn off? Is there a place you can turn
Yes,
the water on?
and we
Yeah.
turn it off.
we have to.
Have to.
You don't.
We don't, that $2 bill turns into a
$300.
$300 bill.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's those concerned citizens that let their kids down there without no supervision is why I have to work so hard to keep that park up.
Well, let's protect the parents now.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll go through 20,000 gallon of water a night really quick, because it has.
Yeah.
They flip it on,
Just
we
let
don't
them
know
know.
about 8 o'clock and not find it till 7 or 8 the next morning, and it looks like you run a pump from the creek up to around by where the pavilion was. Everything's good and saturated. That treated good water you're just throwing away.
Well, do some research on cameras and bring the
I have that I'm gonna get prices on.
We may be able to look into something else to.
Like I said, those
No.
game cameras work great if you get a good one. But, you know, in the weather, everything else, no matter what, everything else electrical, changing the batteries,
Well, if we get a solar powered one, we wouldn't have to worry about changing the
you
batteries.
know. Just so the less obvious we make it, the better.
Solar powered, make it obvious.
Well, if you got this
Yeah,
great big
yeah.
glass plate on top of
Yeah,
it,
then
The
no, we don't
panel
want
that goes up is probably about 10 by 8, 12 by 8, the panel, the solar panel.
Oh no, that would drive me.
oh, that's a target
And
for
it goes-
every piece of gravel that I
Yeah,
have
we
around the
need
pavilion.
batteries.
That's
How
something
about
that
the
should never
lights?
be around.
Are they letting the lights on?
The ones that are still up, yes.
And are those? I used the receptacles in the Pavilion 1. Are they GFI?
Yes,
Are they?
Yes.
yes.
How come there's no covers over them?
Well, there
Because we
was.
put covers on, they bust them off as fast as we put them on.
There was.
You're answering my question.
Eventually, you have to say, why put it on there?
It's
You
just
know,
an
it's $5 a pop, and you change 14 of them a week.
We, 1 year before,
Can we
I
get the
think it was before the street fair, we put, they're like an aluminum or a pot metal, and we put them all, we had them all on new, and it just went along and went like this, and when you go like this, there's two little nuts out to the side, and it'll break whatever's off on them, it just breaks them off, and then you'll find them laying down there.
Well, can we put the little plastic plugs over those?
And
And
You
you
mean
still
like
won't
the
have
safety
them.
ones for the kids?
you're talking about safety plugs. So, my next question, and I'm fine.
I mean, they're relatively cheap.
until you buy enough of them to do the park 15.
Well, I'm also thinking
Yeah.
about moisture getting in there. I mean, that was the whole idea of the flaps, is to
Right.
keep moisture.
Fortunately for us, our plugs are on the inside of the pavilion. But we haven't had to change a receptacle down there in 2 years anyway. So, yeah, you know, and it doesn't take much for me to change a cheap receptacle if it happens.
Yeah.
But, like Mary said, I can put those in there, and every time somebody would
Mhm.
use the part, they would pull them out, and then,
Because those terminals are gonna rust.
right, and then we'll have to replace them.
We did have a couple that was, when they broke them, they actually broke where the actual plugs were, and you could put your finger back in like where the wires were, and we did replace those within the last 2 years, and of course, within a week, the covers are back off, but when they just broke the covers off. The thing of it is, you'll find them, they may go like a frisbee with it, it's not something you can repair and put back on.
No, it's cast.
Okay, moving
Once you
right
break it,
along.
it's gone.
Next
Thank you
up,
for your response.
Old business, you wanna read that from Catherine?
I got a letter in the mail from Catherine, and it says, Dear Council members, I'm sure that Noel has informed you of the problem with the IRS filings for payroll taxes. I have printed out the PA reports that were filed and have found major discrepancies and missing reports. I am working with Noel as much as I can to figure out what needs to be done. This is a monumental task. This is impossible to file correct reports without payroll information for each employee each quarter in question. I have prepared a power of attorney form that would allow me to communicate directly with the Internal Revenue Services to discuss these matters. The big problem is that the penalties for not filing and not known payment, these reports are 100% plus interest. This will present a large financial burden on the borough. With a little luck, we will be able to get some relief given the circumstances. We will need the pay stubs and W-2 forms for 2015, 16, and 17. I have some of the information on 2018, but none for the other years. It would be helpful to obtain the payroll records, including the local tax reports filed with Keystone Collections Group and with the PA Unemployment Compensation Department and the Association of Boroughs Unemployment Program for the years in question. This is unconstitutional that these problems have been allowed to accumulate for so long without being addressed. Please provide Noelle with the time and assistance she will need to sort this out. I do hope you have maintained treasurer's bonds that you might be able to utilize to regroup some of the expenses you may face. I hope to be able to assist in the process, but the amount of time I'm spending pro bono so far has been monstrous. Yours truly, Catherine G. McCusker.
Did I hear her say that we should keep that bond that we said we were gonna do?
It's a, what kind of bond? The bond we had on is no good.
Are you sure? I think we're supposed to terminate it March 1st, is that correct? Or, not March.
Yeah, we needed to terminate that bond.
It was a serenity, it has nothing to do with.
She's not here. The problem is,
Is negligence not an issue?
well, we try,
It's
I
not,
know
it's
that
not insurable.
you called the IRS, she's called the IRS, Catherine has talked to them. We are liable for these penalties. And the problem is, there's only so many hours in a day that Noelle can do the responsibilities of borough secretary and try and rectify all these financial and tax issues that we have been made aware of just this year.
I make a motion that we do grant her request for a power of attorney.
We did that last time.
Oh, we did last time?
We did. It was an issue that needed to be taken care of immediately.
Oh, we
And
didn't
if I
vote
was
on
wrong-
that.
If I was wrong,
No, it was brought up in the last meeting, wasn't it? About her.
I didn't get this letter until after.
Well, if it
No, I
has
know
not, I
we
make
talked
a
about
motion
this.
that we do it.
I second his motion. You're right. It was after the meeting.
her request that we're discussing now is about the secretary's hours. I know that we're not a full-time entity, and I know that she can't have, a certain amount of hours. But, we need to discuss about allowing, just until we get these issues taken care of, allowing the secretary to work what she can to get the finances to Catherine that Catherine needs. Because the more time we go without paying these taxes, the more time we go without reporting them and rectifying the situation, the more penalties we accrue, because it is done on a percentage basis. There is a penalty. And the longer we let it go, the more money it's gonna cost the borough in the long run.
How many extra hours a week do you think she needs to get this done until we're caught up?
What I can't understand is, where are these records? Are they on this hard drive?
I hope.
I never threw anything out. So I have minutes somewhere, the borough minutes, so that we would have copies of those somewhere. I just have to find
What
it.
years do you need?
Well, that brings up
15 through
16,
17, which I found all the pay stubs. I'm having a lot of problem finding W-2 forms.
We're talking about minutes, resolutions, stuff like that too.
Right.
I thought she was talking about when Catherine said about
Main
needing
thing,
the pay
right.
stubs.
Yeah,
The
the
main
main
thing-
thing right now is the pay
Pay
stubs
stubs.
and everything that we
Now,
need to do.
They weren't filed? And this.
You went through that.
Some of them weren't filed, some of them were filed without the form, like the payment was made, but the form that was supposed to accompany the payment wasn't there,
Well,
so that
What
has to
about
be
the
filed.
checkbook for 15, 16, 17? Do you have the checkbooks or stubs?
I have the pay stubs, yeah. Those
Okay.
I already
Have you called the bank and you want a running audit of your account for as far as back as you can go.
Here's the issue.
You can do that.
Here's the issue. Out of those pay stubs, there were supposed to be Medicare, FICA, different kinds of taxes were supposed to be withdrawn. These reports were not filed the way they were supposed to.
Well, we can see the check. The check should
The
reflect.
check has the amount on, but not the amount of deductions for
But you
each
could, you
one.
could create that.
If, this
Because
is
if you
if
can't-
the right taxes were paid.
Well, even if they haven't, you have to report what was supposed to be correct.
Exactly, but we have
But
to
with the check, you
fix.
can't, because if she subtracted the amounts that she took out, whomever, and then paid me my check. Okay, now, without the actual stub to show me what she took out, I don't know what the difference is in that, and it doesn't affect me because I didn't start till after 18. But it's the guy's past that's not here that we can't.
Well, I think you can reconstruct that. Even if that's not correct, if they actually took more out or less out, you can
For the
reconstruct
one
it.
tax year, we are now looking at over $1,000 in penalties. alone.
That's
not even
2015.
That's not
15.
even paying the tax base that was due. So we are looking, I think it was like 1,300 and something was
I
just
thought it
the
was
penalty.
1,500 almost.
Anyway, you know.
I would
it's
get
gonna
that
be
running
$1,000.
audit from the bank, that history, which they can pump that out in a few seconds and give you sheets. Go down, what yellow mark, highlight the one, you'll see the actual record. That's, remember what they said at our class, if it's not written down, it never happened.
Right, but
And,
it's a
and
process
if
of
it
finding.
was written down, we can reconstruct. And that would be our best evidence to the agency.
Okay, but we still need time to reconstruct everything.
Sure, yeah, I agree. But
He went
we
through
might
those-
have to
Bids that I have
retrofit
Yeah, that's where I found
These
all the pay stubs. The
taxes
only thing I'm missing
that
is
should be correct with that amount of money that was given out.
2015
Yeah, I
and
get where you're
2017
coming
W-2s. I
from.
found 16 and
But you
18.
know, it's basically
So
going to
I'm
take a lot of
working
time
on sending
regardless
out
of
all
what
the
we do,
whole
and
pay
it's
stubs.
unfortunate.
If we don't have any other evidence, but that, even if we reconstruct and it's wrong, I mean, we don't have actual, we don't know. So if we have the paycheck that was issued out, you can reconstruct.
She has all the stubs. You say you have all the stubs. The
Yeah,
only
I
thing
have
we
all the
don't
stubs.
have
I don't
And she
have.
said-
W-2s and W-3s.
Yeah, I don't have
She
the
didn't-
No,
W-2s.
yeah, that's what you do at the end of the year.
That's what, right.
I don't have any of those for 15 or 17. I found 16 and 18 W-2s.
Does the checks out reflect the social security, the
From what I can tell,
940s,
yeah.
941s? Wow.
So
okay.
when we sent all that off to Catherine, and now we're just waiting, because, I mean, it's obviously it's gonna take Catherine time to
And she's
put
been
that all together.
putting everything together and submitting
I mean, there's no
stuff.
sense for myself, you know well, that, you know what I'm saying, I can put the dates together,
But if we have actual physical checks issued, she should be able to reconstruct.
Which, all those are being sent to Catherine.
Yeah, those are being sent to Catherine. I sent the first one off today.
Good.
There's
So
just
now,
a lot to
what's the
send.
extra time for now? What are we
Because
targeting?
she's still,
Find
Catherine is
the other
working
part she
on,
needs.
right, Catherine is working on certain things that she provides. But then as Catherine, you know, this isn't gonna be like, you know, she gets 35 hours each and every week. This is approval from Borough Council that she works the hours she needs when it's needed.
Well, I basically, I mean, we talked about this before, and I'll be honest, myself and Walt have been leaving every day at noon to make up the difference in her hours. So I just told her, I said, what was it the first, I told her if she go over 20 hours, let me know. So that I know that, you know, if I have to explain to one of you guys why she had 25, then I can explain to her why she has 25.
That's very important.
Right.
She
We're not
does
gonna go to the 30
document
hour
all
day.
that she does, so
She has a time sheet
And
that
she
she
has
does
a
it.
journal, that
she
she
has a
writes down
journal.
everything, who she talks to through the day, what
that
phone she
protects
calls.
her.
So
It really
it's
does.
just so everybody knows that, hey, you know, if there's a question because Noelle all of a sudden's making more than me, that's why.
Which I
It's
understood
not like, I mean, she keeps a journal of everything, it's not like she's sitting on that computer on Facebook and the borough's paying for
We
it.
know
you
that,
know? There's
As long
been
as
a
we see
lot of
results, we know
improvement.
everything's good, you know?
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
I appreciate
results.
what she's done so far.
She's doing a great job. I mean,
These are good
we're
reports.
lucky to have her where we're at for.
Do I have a motion to PRN hours, just as needed, as Catherine needs her to do certain things?
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. If I'm not-
Okay. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Tax collection committee, I attended that meeting, and in that meeting, we, actually, made two resolutions. One was for, to sign the contract, that went through. So we will, Keystone will remain in place. That contract will be renewed, and also, in a prior meeting, we talked about a representative, should I not be able to go and vote. The one resolution was to make somebody from the school board a second alternate, but we still need that first alternate. And Kevin had agreed that he would, become that second alternate, because they said it would really be beneficial for us to have, you know, your primary voter, an alternate voter, and then the school board as your second alternate. So I need a motion, you know, to.
You said you were gonna create a resolution.
It's created.
I did create one.
Okay, you didn't send that out to us, or I missed it?
Not yet, because we were talking about Kevin as well, so I didn't want to print that off and
Okay.
have more than one resolution for the same thing.
So actually, this resolution was actually written by the tax collection committee, and all we did was adjust it for Coalport Borough. We put Coalport Borough's name in it, who we're taking as, you know, the alternate, and that sort of thing. But we need to pass this resolution so that Kevin can be the other alternate.
Motion to do it by resolution and ask for a roll call vote.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion, made by Reverend Spade, seconded by, Councilman Glass. Roll call vote, please.
President Barbara Trent,
Yes.
Vice President Joe Adam,
Yes.
Kevin Glass,
Yes.
Jack Root, Reverend Gerald Spade,
Yes.
Paul Zupich, and then Mayor Madalena does not work it.
My only hesitation is we never get to see the wording of what is in the resolution until after the fact.
Okay.
In the future, just like I presented you all with a resolution that you can strike or do whatever you want with it, we just don't get to see it.
She can fill that out, Kevin, if you want.
Yeah, just sign it and I can fill it out.
It's entirely up to you, though, if you want to
Your
fill it out.
signature of
that's
the
fine.
absence.
Are we good with this? We can move on?
I just, in the future, I want to make a point then of, the next meeting, I'll make sure that resolution's present in the meeting so that everybody has a chance to read it. But, yeah, from now on, I agree with Mr. Spade. If we're gonna vote on a resolution, let's at least be able to read it before we vote.
Because there could have been addendum put in there that 3 of the councilors get Cadillacs, and we don't know that that's in there.
Yeah, because with a $100,000 budget, I think we all ought to be driving Cadillacs.
Mayor gets a Lincoln.
Oh, yeah, Mayor gets a Lincoln.
And
It's just like, I mean, I just think we should see what
I agree.
we're voting
You
on,
got
That's not out
in
of
my
line.
opinion.
Right, well, that's
Not
good.
out of line, you're fine. Anything for the good of the borough? Okay, we have to enter into an executive session, which we will adjourn from that executive session. So, Reverend Spade, if you can remove your cameras, please.
Can we